go back to the sharing. But okay, anyway, for those who paid attention to the K package list and K class declaration and stuff like that, this is not invented by us. So for all most of you who are kind of interested in writing your own rules, pay attention to those kite frameworks. Which is yeah that one. Yes, thank you. So those are actually the kite schema put together by Google as part of the variable. And this is the one that Ajita was alluding to in terms of the poor documentation. Unfortunately, we can't complain because we get a really, really solid industry level parser for free at system Verilog complexity, which is something non-dream, for us, most of our hardware engineering teams, right? It's very, very hard to write that kind of code. Whereas this is very much available today and has been there for last few years from Google. And if you could download that and start using that, right? So you could see that you actually start working with a data model than really writing a simple or a fancy regular expression. Because most of the time I talk to customers saying, hey, are you interested? They said, look, I do have an in-house linter. And when we probe a little bit detail, we get either this, cooked up Python Perl script, which is great, by the way. There's a lot of engineering effort put in. But unfortunately, it breaks down the moment you have a new kind of code. It is prone to, what you call as the syntactic changes in terms of, the aesthetics. You have a tab, you have a space, you have a new line, you have a commented code, you have an ifdef, you have a genware, you name it, right? So you all know about Verilog and system Verilog complexity. The moment you want to write your own parser, good luck. It takes a lot of effort to get it right. And that is where the things like variable or slang comes in very, very handy and for free. And it's a very lightweight parser. This runs, it is not a typical parser wherein like, commercial ones, which stops at the first error. That's the best part of variable is it continues even with an error. So imagine that you could do something like the HTML, right, for system Verilog. Even if there are errors, it continues to some extent. It's a relaxed parser. I think it's a recursive parser, right? So it's a parser that allows fair amount of flexibility. So even if you have an incomplete system Verilog code, you could actually parse it with variable and use that. Yes, there are questions about documentation. Please go to variable. I think it's a GitHub. It's maintained by Chips Alliance. Please do ask them. I have been begging for documentation. Unfortunately, there isn't much available. The best part is you can read the C++ code and then figure out what you want. That's where we spend most of our time than really trying to develop rules. Unfortunately, that's somewhat better with the slang, but at variable, that's where it is right now. I'm not blaming, I'm not complaining, because we do get a great parser for free, but the documentation is lacking. And maybe that's another thing that a lot of you probably could start contributing. So with that, we would take a short break for about 10 minutes, bio break, and then we'd come back in roughly about 10 minutes, and then continue with the next topic. And meanwhile, you could just leave the slide as it is, Himang, if you don't mind, because I think it's a bit motivating for me. I hope you agree, right? It's no, the previous slide. That'll be fantastic, because I know it's being copied, but that's okay. It's all open source, so there's nothing to steal. This code is all available on the GitHub, on the asfigo.com, github.com/asfigo. You should be able to find this under SVCK. Yep. I'll be back in about 10 minutes. Thank you very much. See you all. Hema, you go next, I guess.
Yes. Thanks, Srini.
Sorry, wait for you, but yeah, please.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome back. Hima, in case you're ready, you're not on target. Of 10
Yes.
minutes.
Yes.
In case you want, thank you, Himang, for holding the floor for us. Thank you, appreciate it. And then we have another presenter from US lined up.